Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. It is time for another episode in our TNA series in TEW 2020. I of course am Sierra Daredevil, bringing you all of the live action. We are just days away, or days removed, that is, from Destination X and the crazy show that was, including DJZ winning the TNA X Division Championship and allowing himself to be the sole decider of whether he cashes in option C or not. We also had all sorts of other crazy stuff happen, including the TNA World's Heavyweight Champion Magnus be pinned in a tag team matchup against Team 3D. I apologize for that. And at the same time, we also found out the kind of more surprising news out of everything, in that MVP has temporarily given up his control in TNA, his power, so to speak, that he earned at Lockdown a few months back, and is going to be trying to rid TNA of Team Dixie, including having himself a shot at the TNA World's Heavyweight Championship at Hard Justice here in this coming August. So, lots of crazy stuff to for sure happening with this whole thing. It's time to find out what's going to happen with Option C, among other things. We jump into the show with a dark match featuring Crazy Steve defeating Garrett Bischoff in 6:43 by pinfall. It is what it is. Crazy Steve gets a victory. It is what it is beyond that. That's really all that is to it. Garrett Bischoff has 100% become my jobber to everybody at this point. His stats suck, and he is under a RIN deal, which means I can't get rid of him, because if I get rid of him, I'm going to piss off Eric. So he's just jobbing to everybody. And maybe eventually he'll get pissed off about the fact that he's jobbing to everybody and he'll quit, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be happening anytime soon. So, it is what it is. But, yeah. Crazy Steve gets a victory here in a dark match. In another dark match before the show, Brittany gets a victory in a triple threat match over Madison Eagles and Mia Yim, when Brittany pins Madison Eagles with a handspring moonsault. 41 rating for the match. Not too bad. Brittany with a 37. 39 from Eagles and Yim. Not too bad there. Nice little match featuring three of the knockouts who don't really get a lot of airtime, honestly. Not really a lot that they've been doing recently, but they get the victory here. So there's that. Brittany gets a victory, but they get a chance to kind of show their worth here. So there's that. Anyway, we dive into the show itself in front of 7,326 people at the Hoff-Heinz Pavilion in Texas, actually. We are actually running shows outside of the Southeast as well, heading forward, so it'll be kind of an interesting thing to see. But yeah, we are running a show in Texas this time. Forget what you've been seeing in the news recently with Texas, because of course this happens back in 2014. But yeah, also protect trans kids, because we need to. 100% we need to. But anyway, not going to make this political. So we open up the show with an 80 rated promo where Eric Bischoff is seen backstage in his office. This is his first day his first show having kind of full power, full control here in TNA. Not full control. MVP still technically has his power. He's just temporarily given it up to pursue getting rid of Team Dixie at this point. But Eric Bischoff is 100% in charge at this point. And he goes over the way that the Bound for Glory series is going to play out the next couple of weeks, as well as the Option C thing coming up. So tonight and next week's Bound for Glory series matches are going to feature one member of the Bound for Glory series taking on another member of the Bound for Glory series. However, they are still going to be competing in a tag team matchup. Each member of the Bound for Glory series has to find somebody outside of the Bound for Glory series to team up with. So they have to be somebody who is not in the Bound for Glory series itself in order to be competing in this match this week and next week. Otherwise, they just randomly get paired up with somebody. But yeah, so we're going to see some interesting stuff there. It's still going to be set up kind of the same way that the one-on-one matches would be, where the winner gets 3 points, the loser gets nothing. But it will be obviously the winning team and the losing team. So even if the two competitors who are not in the Bound for Glory series are the ones who have the decision involved around them, then you know the person who's in the Bound for Glory series still gets the points, and vice versa, all that kind of stuff. So interesting concept for it, but it'll be pretty decent. And then Bischoff also goes about, kind of hypes up the fact that the Option C promo is happening, that we're going to find out tonight whether the new X Division champion DJZ is going to be cashing in Option C to get a shot at the World's Heavyweight Championship or not. We don't know for sure. It does get announced by Bischoff, and I've kind of, pulling back the curtain slightly, kind of decided with this that that if Option C is to be used, if DJZ decides to cash in Option C tonight, it will be for a shot at the TNA World's Heavyweight Championship at No Surrender. So that means that if, let's say, for example, if MVP, basically whoever leaves the match at Hard Justice between Magnus and MVP as the TNA World's Heavyweight Champion, they will then be going on to defend against DJZ at No Surrender if DJZ cashes in for Option C. So that's going to be the way that that's set up. So the cash in, or the Option C cash in, will officially be for No Surrender if it does end up happening. We'll see. But yeah, so it's kind of interesting thing there. We move on from that to the backstage area. In fact, Bischoff kind of finishes up with what he's kind of starting to finish up with what he's saying when all of a sudden there's commotion heard, and the camera ends up leaving his office area and goes running down the hall. Bischoff's behind him, but he's not actually on camera for this. And then they find out that Eddie Edwards, one half of the tag team champions, was attacked backstage, apparent victim of a sneak attack. So he is bloody and battered. He was supposed to be, or the Wolves were supposed to be in action tonight, but we're going to have to see what's going to happen now, because they're kind of, Eddie Edwards kind of potentially unable to compete tonight. So Davey might have to go at it on his own tonight. The Wolves are actually going to be taking on the Menagerie tonight, by the way. Nux and the Freak. So we'll have to see what ends up happening with that. But seems like Eddie got attacked by somebody. Not sure who, but someone jumped him backstage. And with the way that Bad Influence couldn't get the job done Destination X, could they have possibly been the ones? Could they have possibly been the ones to attack Eddie Edwards? Maybe they kind of snapped and decided not to be so friendly with the Wolves anymore? We don't know. We'll have to find out. After that, maybe. There we go. After that, we get what is now a singles matchup, because Eddie is obviously out. So it ends up being a one-on-one matchup featuring Davey Richards taking on the Freak. And Davey Richards gets the disqualification victory in that matchup after Nux ran in and attacked Davey Richards. He didn't really run in. He was kind of at ringside already, so he got involved in the match and attacked Davey Richards for the disqualification victory for the Lone Wolf, so to speak, the one that's actually here right now. 61 rating there, 68 from Davey Richards, 34 from the Freak. Davey Richards getting the victory, even if it was by disqualification. Okay, I forgot to put that, but essentially the Menagerie beat down Davey, and that was kind of how that whole thing ended. I forgot to put it after that, apparently, but there's that. Anyway, We come back from commercial break to see Chris Sabin in the ring, and he says that tonight he has his Bound for Glory series matchup against Homicide, both people getting a tag team partner. He knows that Homicide obviously is going to get Low Key, the other member of Black Friday management, and he had to search high and low. He had to search far and wide to find the perfect tag team partner for him. And it just so happens it's the guy who he's been on the phone with for the last few weeks, coming to TNA to watch his back once again. And that's when you hear the all too familiar music of the Motor City Machine Guns, because it is none other than Alex Shelley. Alex Shelley is back in TNA, and he's teaming up with Sabin tonight to take on Black Friday Management. 60 rating for the segment there. Good stuff there. As Alex Shelley gets a great rating for his degenerate gimmick. The Machine Guns are back together in TNA, and they take a loss. But it's a 71 rated matchup, so there's that. As a might be a little bit of an upset, all things considered. But in a decent matchup, Black Friday Management defeat the Motor City Machine Guns at 12:45 when Homicide pins Alex Shelley with a Gringo Killer. Like I mentioned, even though Shelley was the one who took the loss, it does mean that Chris Sabin is the one who doesn't get the points. Homicide does get the points. So there is that. Homicide getting himself 3 points here. Homicide getting 3 points. And Chris Sabin, who, remember, heading into Destination X was leading the Bound for Glory series, is suddenly finding himself not doing so hot. I had to do that really quick because okay. That's what I thought was going to happen. My computer just randomly decided to do something really quick there without me agreeing to that. Super professional editing stuff there. But yeah, so Chris Sabin, who was leading the Bound for Glory series heading into Destination X, now also takes a loss in this one as well. And Homicide picks himself up 3 points to get himself up to 7 points in the Bound for Glory series. So crazy stuff there, but good matchup between these two teams. May end up having to run it back at some point in the near future. I mean, I'm sure they will, because once the Bound for Glory series is over, both of these teams probably going to go to tag team competition, or at least variations of the tag team competition, and so they're probably going to end up crossing paths again. But yeah, I'll take a 71. Not bad at all. After that, we see a Bad Influence backstage with a promo. Borash asked them what happened at Destination X, and Daniels is like, we got defeated. The Wolves were the better team, and we lost. It's as simple as that. And Kaz is kind of looking disappointed. He's not really saying anything right now. And Borash goes, okay, well, we know that Eddie Edwards, one half of the tag team champions, got attacked earlier in the night. Were you guys responsible? And Daniels is like, no, we weren't responsible. We told you. We will openly admit that they beat us. If they beat us, that they are the better team, and we will move on from there. So we lost. It's plain and simple. So we're not going to attack Eddie Edwards about it. If we're going to try to prove that we're better than them, we're going to do it in the ring. We're not going to attack them backstage like cowards would. And that's kind of where things end up, or kind of leave with. However, Kazarian kind of disappointed, not really saying anything at all. He's kind of just showing some disappointment there. But Daniels, basically saying what he said before, or basically following up with what he said at Destination X, that they were going to admit that the Wolves were the better team if they beat them, and the Wolves beat them, so they admitted that they were the better team. So we'll have to see what that leads to heading forward with a Bad Influence. After that, Dixie Carter confronts Eric Bischoff backstage, yelling at him like crazy, blasting him for putting EC3 against AJ Styles later in the night. That's the Bound for Glory series match happening here tonight. Which is actually going to be the main event. It's going to be EC3 and his partner against AJ Styles and his partner. But she's also just lambasting him for putting MVP, for giving MVP a title shot like that when MVP doesn't deserve one, because he barely has wrestled at all this year, and now he's just being given a title shot. She lambasts him for just being a poor excuse of authority figure here in TNA, and the whole time Eric Bischoff is just sitting there smiling. He's just standing there smiling, not saying a thing. And Dixie's like, what is you? Why are you smiling? Why are you smiling so much? I don't see why you're happy right now. And Bischoff just kind of laughs a little bit and then walks away. So basically just acting as if anything that she's saying is just rolling right off his back. Like, he doesn't even seem to care what she's saying. So we're going to have to see what that ends up leading to. Because Dixie, technically is still the owner of the company. But she just doesn't have any power to book the shows right now. But you would think she still has the power to hire and fire people. So would Bischoff really want to be acting that way with her? We don't know. We don't know. But there's that, I guess. After that, in About the Head, a decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling. Gail Kim defeats Velvet Sky in 11:04 by submission with an octopus scratch. 57 rating for the match. They don't seem to click, which made for an awkward bout. That kind of sucks, because those two would be a pretty good, have always had pretty decent matches at least. So you would think they would be at least decent in the ring, or at least decent in TEW, that is. But sure, why not? Gail came with a 53, Velvet Sky with a 43. Gail gets the victory despite Brooke Tessmacher be at ringside. Madison Rayne came out to back up Gail Kim. Well, she came out to watch Brooke Tessmacher during the matchup, to make sure that Brooke and the rest of the beautiful people didn't try to do anything against Gail Kim. And during the matchup, the TNA Knockouts champion, Mickie James, came out and was at the commentary desk kind of talking to Mike Tenay and Taz. She was kind of asked about Gail Kim because, of course, they had that little bit of a stare down recently, and Mickie kind of laughed off the idea that Gail Kim could be a threat to her, and said that she's going to be showing up on Explosion this Saturday night, which I will show you the results of after this, to issue an open challenge. So we'll have to see who ends up accepting that open challenge. The open challenge won't happen at Explosion. She's just going to show up on Explosion to issue an open challenge. So we'll have to see what ends up happening with that. But Gail Kim getting the victory here. And we move on from there. After that, we get the big one. DJZ comes out, the TNA X Division champion. He's got the lights going crazy in the arena. It's a big old celebration because he is the new X Division champion. The crowd is they're booing. They're booing because they don't like DJZ. But he's out there and he's jamming. He's got some funky club music going on, playing it around and all that stuff. So it's all kind of a mini celebration for him. And he's like, listen, everybody wants to know what my decision is. Everybody wants to know whether DJZ is going to get the shot of the lifetime, get the shot that he would never get otherwise, get a shot at the TNA World's Heavyweight Championship. Many said that DJZ shouldn't be worthy of getting the X Division Championship, yet here I stand, after winning a 6-way Ultimate X match as your X Division champion. So the idea of what people say is kind of pointless, because I will continue to prove them. I have proved them wrong time and time again, and I will continue to prove them wrong time and time again. But you know what? Enough of the seriousness. This is a party. We're gonna throw a party. And so he has the music start playing again and all that stuff, and that only lasts for a few seconds, and then he kind of waves it off, and he's like, all right. But to be serious here, everybody wants to know whether I'm cashing it in, whether I'm getting a shot at No Surrender for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Well, my answer is, and then we hear the music of Brian Kendrick. And the crowd doesn't know whether to necessarily boo or not, because they're kind of getting ready to boo DJZ, but at the same time, they don't like the way that Brian Kendrick's been recently too. So I guess they're just kind of booing in general. And Brian Kendrick comes out and he says, this is a complete travesty. I, Brian Kendrick, should never have been put in that opportunity, or in that kind of a situation at Destination X to begin with. I pinned the X Division champion Jay Lethal fair and square. I should have been given a one-on-one matchup, and instead I had to compete with 4 other people to try to get the X Division championship. And truth be told, we all know that if it was a one-on-one matchup, DJZ, you'd have no chance against me. Just like the champion, the former champion that is, Jay Lethal, would have had no chance against me in a one-on-one matchup. So how about this, buddy? How about before you go around and you make your claim as to whether you're going to use option C or not, how about you do the right thing and you defend the championship against me? Because if anybody deserves that opportunity to decide what they're going to do with option C, it deserves to be me. Before DJZ is able to answer, that's when we hear the music of Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal, the former X Division champion, he comes out and he's like, he's basically just kind of blows off Brian Kendrick, and he says, "Congratulations to you, DJZ. You did win at Destination X. You won the Ultimate X match. Respect where it's due. You won that matchup. But as a champion, as the former champion, I think it's only fair that if there's going to be any sort of one-on-one match to determine who deserves to be the one to cash in the belt for option C, it should be me. Yeah, I lost the championship in that matchup, but I wasn't necessarily involved in the final decision. I was dealing with this bozo, kind of nods his head over towards Kendrick, on the outside of when you managed to grab that championship. So I think it's only fair if you give me a shot at the title before you decide to cash in option C." And Kendrick starts whining, kind of acting like this is some sort of conspiracy against him, I guess, really. And Lethal's kind of mouthing at him a little bit without the mic up over. DJZ's like, listen. I don't care what either one of you guys have to say. I'm the one that gets to have the choice to cash in option C. I'm the one that gets to decide whether I want to cash in the X Division Championship for a shot at the world title. Not you two. You didn't win the matchup. I did. But you know what? I like the intrigue. I like the idea that you guys are willing to beat yourselves up for me. I like the idea that you're willing to beat yourselves up and all this stuff. So how about this? You both want a shot at the title. How about next week? You guys go one-on-one. And the winner of that match, the winner of that match will then get to challenge me for the opportunity at the X Division Championship and the opportunity to potentially cash in option C. So, apparently, after all this, that's where we stand. Instead of finding out the decision for option C here tonight, we are now going to have a match next week, Brian Kendrick versus Jay Lethal, with the winner getting the opportunity to take on DJZ for the X Division Championship and the opportunity to cash in option C. So, who the hell knows what's going on at this point anymore? To be fair, can DJZ even make that matchup? We're gonna have to find out from Eric Bischoff, I guess. But that's what's happening. We're gonna find out what's gonna happen with that. But we're gonna have to move on in the show from that. 58 rating for that segment. It's not too bad, honestly. Not too bad. After that, we get Shelton Benjamin coming out, and he is here to issue an open challenge. He says he is here in TNA to prove that he is the best wrestler in this business and that he can out wrestle anybody in this ring. So he issues an open challenge here tonight to prove that he is the best wrestler in TNA. And that's when Gunner answers the challenge. And in 737, in a 64 rated matchup, Sean Benjamin defeats Gunner by pinfall with a pay dirt. 64 rating, 61 from Benjamin, 49 from Gunner. It is what it is. Sean Benjamin gets the victory and proves that he is it was able to out wrestle Gunner at this point. I don't necessarily know if that means much of anything because it's Gunner and he hasn't really done much of anything in TNA for a little while now. But he did, Sean Benjamin did win. So there is that, I guess. After that, we get a very interesting promo where Jeremy Borash is interviewing Samoa Joe, the official #1 contender for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, and the TNA World Heavyweight Champion himself, Magnus. And Borash asks him essentially what happened at Destination X. And Joe just stares at Borash until Borash seems like he's going to piss his pants, essentially. And Magnus is like, next question. Doesn't even want to answer anything about that. Borash goes, okay, what about Hard Justice then, where it's already been announced that you are going to be defending the TNA World Heavyweight Championship against MVP? And Joe, again, just staring a hole through Borash. Magnus is like, I don't understand why this is happening. So we can just cash in things now at any point in time to get a shot at this, pointing at the title. He says MVP is just cashing in his power temporarily. Temporarily, by the way, he's not even actually giving it up completely. He's temporarily giving it up to get the shot at the title. You would think something like that, you would have to permanently give it up, but sure, why not? And then we got this other DJ guy running around who apparently can just cash in his championship and can get a shot at the title. What happened to the respect of professional wrestling? What happened to respecting the #1 contendership in professional wrestling? Samoa Joe is the #1 contender for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, but nobody's facing Samoa Joe for these opportunities. Nobody's facing Samoa Joe to prove that they deserve a shot at the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. No, they're just getting to cash in other things to just automatically be given that title shot. I think it's complete bullshit. I think it's complete and utter disappointment that this is a thing happening in this company. And truth be told, it's kind of obvious that why this is happening in this company too. It's because somebody as great as Dixie Carter is not running this, is not actually in charge anymore. And that's a damn travesty in itself. But you know what? You want an answer about what I think about MVP getting a shot at Hard Justice for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. You know what? You want to know what I think about it? I think nothing of it. MVP is not a threat to this championship. MVP is a laughing stock. MVP is going to be defeated quite easily by yours truly. At the end of the day, does not matter whether I make him lose, whether I have Samoa Joe just choke him out. At the end of the day, it does not matter because I will be leaving Hard Justice the TNA World's Heavyweight Champion. And there's not a damn thing MVP or Eric Bischoff is going to be able to do about it. So, pretty strong words there. As he's clearly upset about the fact that the #1 contendership is basically just being considered nothing nowadays. Being kind of seen as a laughingstock, really. But, yeah, some strong words there, and we'll have to see what that means heading forward. As Magnus gets a 63 rating for this segment. Not too bad. Jeremy Borash is kind of underwhelming right now. I'm trying to use him a little bit more, but again, the problem is he's not really popular, so I may have to just start building up his popularity on Explosion more first before I start putting him into interview segments on Impact. We'll have to see. After that, we get a interesting tag team matchup. There was going to be a segment for this, but we had to cut it for time constraints. But essentially, Bobby Roode obviously had a member of Team Dixie come out with him for this tag team Bound for Glory Series tag team matchup. And Bobby Lashley was actually going to have a segment backstage where he was approached by MVP to have MVP be his partner tonight because MVP wanted a piece of Team Dixie. He wants to be taking it to Team Dixie. So the commentators end up kind of saying it. We ended up having to cut the segment from the show, but the commentators kind of talk about that's what ended up happening. But in About That Had Good Heat and Decent Wrestling, Abyss and Bobby Roode get the victory over MVP and Bobby Lashley when Bobby Roode submits Bobby Lashley with a Fujiwara armbar. So you know what that means. Not only does Bobby Lashley again suffer a loss, he is not looking that great in the Bound for Glory series, but that gives Bobby Roode 5 points for getting the submission victory here tonight. So we're having some interesting submission victories. Kind of changed the way that the standings are in the Bound for Glory series, as Bobby Roode gets himself 5 points with that submission victory here tonight, putting himself at 14 points. And Bobby Lashley still only has 1 point. And the only reason he has that 1 point is because he was not the person who was actually defeated at Destination X, even though he was the one who, his team is the one who lost. He was not the one that actually suffered the loss. So Bobby Lashley is not looking too good in the Bound for Glory series. We'll have to see if he can turn things around in the second half, I guess. But yeah, there's that. 57 from Lashley, 62 from MVP, 69 from Bobby Roode, 67 from Abyss, 73 rating for the match itself. After the match, MVP gets jumped from behind by Magnus, the World Heavyweight Champion, ran down to attack him. He's able to fight back, but Abyss and Bobby Roode join in on the attack, so it's a 3-on-1 beatdown, and that's when Team 3D come running out to make the save. So Team 3D coming to MVP's aid, helping him fight off Team Dixie, and standing tall with the man who's got the shot at the TNA World Heavyweight Championship upcoming. So, although you'd think in theory that Bully Ray deserves a shot at the title sometime in the near future again too, because he did pin Magnus in the middle of the ring at Destination X. So we'll have to see what ends up happening with that. But nevertheless, faces stand tall here as Team Dixie kind of sent up the ramp. 67 rating here for the segment. After that, we get AJ Styles being approached by Jeremy Borash backstage. Borash is asking Styles who his partner is going to be tonight. Styles still not saying a word at this point. Still hasn't said anything. When Bully Ray comes out from, well, not comes out, but appears from being out in the ring. He was just out in the ring, and now he kind of ends up crossing paths with them. And he kind of looks at Styles, looks at Borash, gives a shrug, and says, I think it's pretty clear who his partner is right now. After all, I don't think Styles is going to have a problem trusting me, and I will have no problem getting my hands on that pretty boy EC3 and his partner tonight. So, and Styles just kind of looks at Bully and just shrugs and goes along with it. So that's who's going to be AJ Styles' partner tonight. It's going to be AJ Styles and Bully Ray taking on EC3 and whatever partner he ends up having, which is probably kind of obvious at this point, especially since I accidentally left him in the segment off screen. As after that promo, we get the tag team main event, in which Bully Ray and AJ Styles defeat Rockstar, Spud, and EC3 in 1430, when Bully Ray pinned Rockstar Spud with a bully cutter. EC3 getting 0 points tonight, and AJ Styles getting 3 points for the victory there. So there is that. EC3 still also not picking up an official victory in this series. He was part of the winning team at Destination X, but he didn't actually pick up the victory in that. Meanwhile, AJ Styles getting himself 3 points tonight, which gets him up to 10 points, which as of right now puts him in third place in the Bound for Glory series, so it puts him back in the top 4. But you can't necessarily say that he's for sure in the top 4 yet, because Paul London is currently sitting at 8 points, and he's going to be competing next week. So if he was to get points, then he would put himself back into that picture kind of thing. It's obviously it's a little bit convoluted to say it right now, but still, AJ Styles getting himself 10 points, and so as of right now, he's in 3rd place in the series. But there you go, Bully Ray and AJ Styles getting a victory here in the main event of Impact. Only got a 70 rating for the match. Not too far off of what I expected, to be honestly, because EC3 only had a 58, Rockstar Spud only had a 52, so I knew those two were going to kind of bring down the match a little bit, which is honestly kind of part of the reason why I also put Bully Ray in this matchup, because I knew that Bully Ray would be a solid in-ring performer along with AJ Styles to kind of help raise it up somewhat. So I'll still take the 70 rating for the main event. It's not bad at all. We end the show, which is a 73 rated show. Good stuff there. Increased popularity in 12 regions. We got that increase in popularity. That's all that matters to me. Even if our main event was the weaker of the 3 Bound for Glory series matches, it was still pretty strong. So pretty good stuff across the board there. As we sorry, I just had to point this out. That's who we got for the random profile on the loading screen right now. Brother Runt. Just as we're having Team 3D do stuff. Spoiler, I'm not bringing in Brother Runt. Just so you know. But yeah, pretty good show there. We're going to have to wait a little bit longer to find out whether option C is going to be cashed in or not. But I don't know. To be fair, I would not be surprised if next week Eric Bischoff comes out and says that DJZ has to make his decision without defending it at all, because it was stipulated that the winner of the Ultimate X match at Destination X would be the one to have the option to cash in option C. It's not a title you defend. It was the winner of that matchup would not only be the X Division champion, but then would have the option to potentially cash in option C. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. I guess we're going to have to wait and see. We're also going to have to see what ends up happening in the story between Magnus and MVP. See if right now Magnus kind of has a little bit of momentum, but to be fair, MVP did have Team 3D come and help him out. So I guess really he also has some momentum there. But Magnus had that strong interview kind of putting MVP in his place and kind of laughing him off. However, anywho, little rant aside there, or rambling aside, that is. We had Explosion happen. As I said, I was going to go over that. No Bound for Glory series matches happened on it, but there were a couple things of note to happen on it. We had the Killer Elite Squad get a victory over Chris Hero and Amazing Red because Kenny King came out and attacked Chris Hero during the matchup. So Killer Elite Squad getting another victory here. And then the thing I was talking, or the segment that I referred to that was going to be happening on Explosion that would lead to something happening this coming Thursday night, is that Mickey had an open challenge, which was answered by Rosemary. So Rosemary will be getting a shot at the Knockouts Championship this coming Thursday night on Impact. And in the main event of Explosion, because why not go over it, Brian Kendrick defeated Colt Cabana in what was a pretty good back and forth matchup. But Kendrick was able to get the victory there and kind of go from there. So that, my friends, is the end of that episode. Fun stuff indeed, for sure. I definitely enjoyed the way that all of that played out, and we will have to see what ends up happening from there. But thank you for watching. Definitely appreciate it. Make sure you sub to the channel if you aren't already, to keep getting all of the fun updates of everything, to keep watching all of this great content, or at least potentially great content that I provide. Got some pretty exciting stuff in the near future for the channel, continuing with these 2 series and potentially doing a couple of other things. Also, if you haven't already and you see it on the screen there, go follow me on Twitter, SierraDare005. I drop the I drop video updates on there, but I also am going to be updating it with other things in the near future when it comes to the channel and whatnot. So drop a follow there as well. But that is going to do it. Thank you for watching.